I introduce to you the governor of the state of New Jersey, but I'd like to say the next president of the United States.
Thank you all very much. Please everybody be seated. Be seated. First of all, excuse me for my casual attire today, but I've been in Monmouth and Ocean County today, walking on the beach and on the boardwalk, in Manasquan and in Seaside Heights, and so it was a lot of fun, but I don't want to look like Richard Nixon now. I'm walking on the beach in a suit and wingtip shoes, so you all look better than me today, but I thank you all for excusing me. And you'll see some stories on this. You see I have a wristband on it says Manasquan Beach. Now, I did a press conference, press availability today, right on the edge of the beach in Manasquan. And when I got done with the press availability, I turned around to go and walk on the beach and go meet some people on the beach and shake hands and talk to them. This woman standing next to me said, "Where's your badge?" And I said, "Do I need a badge?" And she said, "Well, yeah, it's before 4 o'clock. I need a badge." And I said, "Okay, well, how much are they?" And she said, $8. And I said, "Okay." So in my pocket, I got $20 out. And she said, "Governor, I was only kidding." All the press was standing around. I'm like, "Listen, sister, you're taking this $8. Take it right down and give me your badge." $8, I was on the beach for 8 minutes, so it was a pretty good deal. But what I've been noticing is I've been traveling around the state in the 3.5 weeks or so since Mary Pat and I got home with the kids from vacation, took some vacation out west for a couple weeks after the budget was done, is that, people's attitudes in New Jersey are getting better. They're feeling better about what's happening here. They're crazy about what's happening in Washington, and they should be, because Washington is incredibly broken, and both parties have contributed to it, and we saw that again in the last month or so. It's led, as it always is, by the President of the United States, who refuses to lead. He refuses to put a plan out, to tell people what direction he wants to take the country in. And he continues to try to be a political strategist rather than be a leader. Everybody says it's a great political strategy. Well, I didn't think it was such a good political strategy, but it certainly wasn't good leadership. And the country in Washington feels adrift because we don't know. Our leaders aren't telling us what direction they're going to take us in the country. We don't have that problem here. And there are people who agree with me and there are people who disagree with me, and there are lots of strong feelings on both sides of it. But nobody can say that New Jersey is adrift. And nobody can say that New Jersey doesn't know what direction we're moving in. Nobody can say that New Jersey doesn't any longer have a plan, and that we've articulated the plan, and we're following it, and we're executing on it. And whether there are things, and I'm sure even with people in this room, there may be some things that I've done or said that you disagree with. But what I know is, you never have to wonder where I stand. You never have to think about, just I wonder what he thinks about this. You ask, I tell you. Sometimes you like it and sometimes you won't, but that's what leadership is all about, especially in times like these where people are nervous. They're worried, and they're concerned about what the future of their job is going to be. Or if they don't have a job, where are they going to get one? And that's why since March of 2010, when I introduced my first budget, we're proud of the fact that we've created 50,000 private sector jobs, new private sector jobs in this state since March of 2010. That's a record that's right up there with any state in the country. And I think part of the reason that private sector employers are starting to hire again in New Jersey is because they have certainty from state government. Here's what they know. We're making government smaller. 2 years in a row, we've lowered the budget. Not projected spending, real spending. And we wouldn't be able to do that without the leadership we have in the legislature. And I see a lot of our legislators here tonight. They work extraordinarily hard. In Ocean County, they're led by Senator Connors, who is a strong and clear voice for smaller government and less spending. And every time I need him to stand up with me on those issues, he's there. And it's great to have a partner like him. Chris, thank you publicly. raise taxes. Now they've tried 2 years in a row, right? They've sent me an income tax increase 2 years in a row, and 2 years in a row I've vetoed it, and 2 years in a row they've tried to override the veto, and they haven't been able to override the veto. So you think they get the idea by now. When I say we are not raising income taxes on the people of New Jersey, again, we are not raising income taxes on the people of New Jersey or our small businesses. And small business understands now. If they're making more money, they don't have to worry about paying it to Trenton. They're going to be able to use it to invest in their businesses and hire new people. They know that the Lieutenant Governor is working incredibly hard on lowering regulation in the state. And many of you in this room have worked with her to try to work out problems that have happened across the state, whether you're a private business owner or you're a local mayor or a council person. She's doing those things to create a friendlier atmosphere for business in New Jersey, and that's contributed to more jobs being in the state. You know that we said we were going to attack the property tax problem, we did. And I think starting this next year, you're going to start to see real results from that. A 2% property tax cap, a cap on interest arbitration awards, and really the biggest pension and benefit reform passed by any legislature anywhere in the country that's going to save the taxpayers of New Jersey $132 billion over the next 30 years. And in addition, and just as importantly, it's going to protect the safety and sanctity of the pensions of 800,000 public workers and retirees across the state who otherwise would have lost those pensions because those systems were going broke. Now, the only way you get that done is not to sit around and hope somebody else does it. But we put out a plan. We put out a plan last September, and I went to 30 town hall meetings across the state to sell our plan to the people of the state. That's called leading, not leading from behind, like the president's waiting for somebody else to suggest how we fix Medicare and Medicaid, Social Security. He's waiting for someone else to put the idea out so then he can stick the knife in it on any little part of the plan that he doesn't like. Now, it's time for the President of the United States to stand up and be a man about it.
That's right.
You know, where's the man from? You know, when the president's never a good sign when you start giving a speech while the stock market's open. And as you're talking, the market keeps going like this. I'm sure there were traders all over Wall Street saying, shut up and get off the TV. You're killing us. And the reason he is because he's not saying anything. And people are tired of politicians in public life who won't just say it. You're all smart. You know the challenges that we face. And if you get somebody standing up here behind this podium saying, you know, the same kind of happy talk that you've heard for years from politicians, and not really telling you the straight-on truth, you know it now, and you know what? People have much less patience for it now than they ever have, because their homes are at risk, their businesses are at risk, the future of their families are at risk. They're not willing to put up with it anymore. So they're not going to like everything that someone who speaks their mind says, but they're going to respect the person who lays out a plan, sticks by it, fights for it, and is willing to listen and work with the other side. And that's the last part I'll say about what we've done in New Jersey. Not only have I had extraordinary cooperation from our Republican members of the legislature, but also we've worked with common sense Democrats. We've worked with folks in the state legislature who are willing to say, you know what, these things are broken and they need to be fixed. And so whether it's Steve Sweeney, the Senate President, or Sheila Oliver, the Speaker, or some of the other folks in the legislature who've supported pension and benefit reform and voted for some of my budgets, I don't agree with them on most things. But you know, Ronald Reagan used to say all the time that somebody who disagrees with me 20% of the time is not my 20% enemy, they're my 80% friend. And we've got to start figuring out, especially in a state where we have divided government, that that's the way to get moved forward. Sure, our ideas should lead the way, because our ideas are right. And then we just tinker with them a little bit to pick off as many of the other votes as we possibly can. To get to 21 and 41, which is what we need to do. And, you know, there's some in our party who are guilty of letting the perfect get to become the enemy of the good. We don't control the whole government. If we did, we could go for the perfect. But we don't. So let's make our arguments directly, forcefully, and then let's find common ground and make progress. That's what they should be doing in Washington, D.C. That's what the president should be leading on in Washington, and he's not. That's what the Republicans and Democrats in Congress should be trying to do, rather than fight and bicker with each other and cause the drift that we feel in this country. And so, you know, there'll be some of my party who'll say, well, that doesn't make you a pure conservative. Well, I disagree. I'm conservative, and my ideas are conservative, and I'm proud of them. And there's folks on the left who'll say that Democrats who compromise with me don't deserve their support any longer. You saw that happen. Democrats who worked hard for labor their whole lives, organized labor, get denied the AFL-CIO endorsement, get denied the teachers union endorsement because on one issue they sided with me. You know, those are the kind of zealots and ideologues on both sides that we don't need any longer in a country that's in danger, at risk, and needs leaders to try to save them. And so what we're doing in New Jersey is we're setting an example. We're setting an example for the rest of the country that if the people pick divided government as they have in this state, then we better find a way to make it work for them and not use as an excuse for inaction. Now lastly, on the topic of divided government, as much as I'm trying to make it work, I would love to get rid of it. And we've got legislative elections this fall, and your support tonight is going to help us to support and defend the 16 seats we have in the state Senate and the 33 seats we have in the Assembly, and then to find those spots across the state where we can challenge vulnerable Democrats and try to take them out to get to majorities. It's not going to be easy. It never is in this state. If you wanted something easy, you shouldn't have joined the Republican Party. Not in New Jersey. But we know we're right. We know our cause is just. And we know that we're supporting people we can trust and believe in. So between now and November of this year, we're going to have to work as hard as we can, and you can count on the fact that I will, up and down this state, to try to elect as many Republicans at the state and county and municipal level as we can. We need to make sure that Ocean County remains as strong as it is for our party. And I did detect something that George Gilmore said in his introduction to me. Now, you may think it was the President of the United States crack, but it wasn't. George Gilmore said that Ocean County has always supported the governor, and next time we're going to support him even more. Even more. Now, not that I'm obsessed with these things, but in 2009, I won Ocean County by 71,000 votes. 71,000 votes. And the thing I love about George Gilmore is, that's not enough. And I didn't even have to ask him to go above 71,000. The man volunteered it while he's raising money for me. This is a good guy. So now, I'm happy to go back and tell Bill Stepien, who makes up these numbers for our targets, Bill, George said 71,000 is too low. 71,000 is too low. Here's what I think. I think George Gilmore wants to be the first county chairman in the Republican side to ever have a candidate statewide win his county by 100,000 votes. That's awfully ambitious, George, but I admire you. I really do. I admire you. And I thank all of you for being here tonight and for supporting our party and supporting me. You know that the state party is the political vehicle that can help support our agenda for the party during the times that we don't have a gubernatorial candidate running. It's all these crazy elect laws. I can't have my own account. And so the state party represents the best way for you to support our agenda, fight for our values and principles, support candidates at every level. And we'll be doing that this fall, the state committee. We're picking out targeted local races to support, in addition to county candidates, in addition to our legislators who will need support, and legislative candidates who would like to sweep into the legislature to give me some more votes. And so the money you're donating tonight will help us to do that, and I really appreciate that. And I want to recognize, now I know that this guy is more famous in Ocean County than I am. And I'm talking about George. When your father is in the house, you have to recognize him. My father, Bill, is here tonight. My stepmother, Fran, is here. Tuesday night, I get this publication called PolitiFacts, right? It comes over the internet to me, and I'm reading through PolitiFacts, and they have a last little note on the last page is Bill Christie will be appearing in Summers Point Wednesday night, raising money for 4 municipal Republican clubs, giving a chat, answering questions. And I turned to Mary Pat, we're laying in bed, I turned and said, "Did you know about this?" Pastor George, she goes, "I didn't know about this." My father is running for something. I don't know what the heck he's up to.
Christie for president.
Yeah, maybe, you're right, maybe he's the Christie one for president. I don't know. But it's great to have him here, and great to have him be able to watch and enjoy all of this. I had my 2 sons with me today walking on the boardwalk. Andrew, who's about to turn 18 in 2 weeks, and Patrick will turn 11 next week. And they were walking on the boardwalk with me today and getting to experience some of the stuff you get to experience as governor. And I thought to myself, you know, it's great for me to watch them, watch all this stuff and experience what's going on. And it's great for me to have my dad around to be able to watch what we're doing in New Jersey and to know that he played a pretty big part in it, because I wouldn't be here without him. So thanks, Dad.